Kumar Sangakkara scored the 53rd first-class 100 of his astonishing career, but 20 wickets fell on the penultimate day of the LV County Championship match between Surrey and Kent at the Keir Oval, with the home side closing in possibly on their 6th win of the season. Surrey began the third morning well placed on 144 for 1 in reply to Kent's 336, but lost Aaron Harron after the day's 4th delivery as he edged Darren Stevens to Matt Coles before it added to his overnight score of 76, giving the bowler his 300th first-class wicket. Sangakkara had begun his day with 34 runs to his name, and he would have been hoping to bat for a long time on what has been a good pitch for the batsman to try to establish a significant first innings advantage. He was soon looking in fine fettle, whether playing off the front or back foot. The total read 171 for 3, Surrey now 165 runs adrift when Stevens and Coles combined again to remove Zafar Ansari for 10. There were a host of low scores throughout the day, with Sangakkara the only man who batted for any real length of time. This single off Stevens carried the Sri Lankan to his 50 off his 73rd delivery. He thus far struck 5 fours and 1 6. But in spite of him, Kent were just started to put themselves on top when Callum Haggett had Jason Roy caught behind for 17, the total now on 204 for 4. And by lunch, Surrey were 5 down as Dominic Sibley was another to get out after making a start, he falling LBW to Coles after making 11. So the home team headed for lunch with a total on 241 for 5, Sangakkara with 79 of those runs, and after 9 more had been added in the afternoon, Ben Foakes fell to Stevens before James Burke nicked the same bowler behind to leave with his team on 264 for 7. By now, Sangakkara was playing a different game than the rest. Any idea of a first innings lead had gone, and now Surrey simply needed to get as close to Kent's 336 as they could. But with a total on 275 and the deficit standing on 61, Gareth Batty was taken well above his head by James Treadwell, the Surrey skipper out for 3 to Matt Hunn. While wickets continued to fall, Sangakkara went about his business as usual, and this pulled boundary off Hunn took him to his 100, his 3rd of the season, off 175 balls. That was his 9th 4 to go with his 1 maximum. The applause from the Kent fielders showed their admiration for what had been a typically classy knock from the 37-year-old. He took his own tally to 110, his runs being made out of the 288 on the board, when he was finally dismissed after 4¼ hours at the crease, as for once he missed a shot off Hunn and was bowled. As the last pair, the Curran brothers, came together, Surrey were 48 runs behind, but Sam played some good shots as he continued to impress on his debut to reduce the arrears to 25, he making 18 of a last wicket stand of 23, which was ended when Tom used the back of his bat to find Joe Denley. Surrey were all out for 311. It gave the visitors a first innings lead of 25, a position they would certainly have taken at the start of the day. But Kent then opened the door to their hosts. With his 6th ball, Sam Curran swung one back into the pads of Daniel Bell Drummond to send him on his way for 5. The younger Curran was in a rampant mood, and 2 balls later, he bounced out Adam Ball, who mishooked to Sibley to go for a duck with just 9 runs on the board. And it was an 8th wicket in his debut match for the 17-year-old when Denley offered the bowler a return catch. Sam now had figures of 3 for 7 to go with his first innings 5 for 101. Kent would have been happy to have him out of the attack. Sam Northeast trying to get some runs on the scoreboard with a top edge cut for 6 off Burke. But with a total on 54, the Kent captain edged Ansari to Roy after making 33, the lead now at 79. The spinner struck again in his next over as Sam Billings drove back to the bowler after adding just a single to the 99 runs he made on the previous day. Often at this ground, the slow bowlers come into their own in the latter stages of a match. Stevens tried to make sure that didn't happen this time by driving Ansari down the ground for a 6. Ben Harmison stuck it out at the other end, adding 30 runs for the 6th wicket with Stevens, only for Kent to lose their last 5 wickets for just 13 runs in the space of 5½ overs. Batty belatedly bringing himself on to turn this game around in a flash. His first 5 overs gave little away, and then he had Harmison edging a cut behind to go for 24 at 86 for 6. Haggett wasn't able to repeat his first innings heroics and was out to the same combination after making only 3 runs this time. 3 balls later and Stevens was also on his way. Some very quick thinking from folks behind the stumps who spotted where the ball had gone, unlike the batsman who departed for 14. Then, after Tom Curran bowled Treadwell off a thick inside edge for a couple, Batty grabbed a 4th wicket in the space of 16 deliveries from the pavilion end as Coles tried to go big but lobbed the simplest of catches to Folkes. Batty had figures of 4 for 12 from 8.1 overs as Kent were all out for just 99. That left Surrey a target of 125 to close the gap on the second division leaders Lancashire, but they lost Ansari to the last ball of the day, Treadwell given the new ball and delivering an absolute peach to disturb the stumps. That dismissal will give Treadwell and Kent plenty of heart as they enter the last day with Surrey on 4 for 1, needing a further 121 runs to complete a very significant victory. Surrey are favourites, but this game may not be over just yet.